All right, welcome. Today we're going to tackle a huge topic, one that affects literally every single one of us, our environment. What is it exactly? How do we fit into the picture? And what's our part in shaping its future? Let's dive right in.
So let's just start with a fact that's kind of mind-blowing. In all the vastness of space, there is only one place we know of, this tiny, beautiful, fragile bubble of life. And we're on it. It's our home.
You know, we hear that word environment thrown around all the time. But have you ever really stopped to think about what it means? Is it just, trees and parks? Or is it something a lot bigger?
Okay, let's get right to the heart of it. If we want to understand our place on this planet, we've got to start with a really clear definition of what we're even talking about. So, here's the official take. The environment is the grand total of everything, and I mean everything, both the living and the non-living things that surrounds any organism. The word actually comes from the French, environ, which means to encircle, so it's literally the world that wraps around us. Pretty cool, huh?
Now, everything is, well, it's a lot to wrap your head around. So to make sense of it all, scientists break it down into two main categories, the living parts and the non-living parts. And of course, there are some sciencey terms for these. Abiotic refers to all the non-living stuff. Think sunlight, temperature, water, even the shape of the land. And biotic, well, you can probably guess. That's all the living things, plants, animals, including us, and even tiny microorganisms you can't even see.
Okay, let's make this super concrete. I want you to picture a single carpfish just swimming around, doing its thing in a pond. What does its world look like?
For that carp, the abiotic world is the sunlight warming the water, the temperature, the oxygen it gets from the water. It's the non-living stage. And its biotic world? That's all the other characters in the play. It's the plankton it eats, the plants, the insects, other fish, even the bacteria and fungi that act as the cleanup crew. The whole thing is one big, interconnected system.
All right, now it's your turn. Take a good look at this forest. What are the biotic, the living, things you can spot? The trees are obvious, yeah, but what about the ferns, the moss on the rocks, the animals that are probably hiding? And the abiotic elements? You've got the sunlight, the soil, the rocks, the air itself. It's all woven together. So, the big question, where do we humans fit into all this? Well, our relationship with the environment has changed a lot over history. You can almost think of it as a story told in 3 acts. So, Act 1 was determinism. This was the idea that nature was totally in charge and we were just subject to its whims. Then came Act 2, possibilism. With science and technology, we got confident. We thought, hey, we can control nature. And for a while, it seemed like we could. But that led to some major problems. And that brings us to Act 3, where we are now, environmentalism. It's the growing understanding that, oops, maybe we're not the masters of nature after all. We're a part of it, and we have to cooperate to survive. And this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. This shift in thinking, it frames the single biggest challenge we face as a species today. Which brings us to this really important concept that's pretty much shaping our entire future, sustainable development. This quote right here is the classic definition, and it is so powerful because it's so simple. The whole idea is, how do we build a better world for ourselves right now, without pulling the rug out from under our kids and grandkids? It sounds amazing, right? But what does that balance actually look like in the real world? How do you do it? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like a 3-legged stool. The first leg is the environment, obviously, but just as important are the other 2 legs. Social needs like fairness and strong communities, and economic needs like jobs and prosperity. If any one of those legs is weak or missing, the whole stool just collapses. True sustainability has to hit all 3. So why is this so important to understand? Because this isn't just theory from a textbook. These ideas are the engine behind some of the biggest global projects happening right now. Seriously, these principles are the absolute foundation for some of the most ambitious plans humanity has ever put together. And this is where the rubber really meets the road, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. When you see things like goals for clean energy, sustainable cities, or taking action on climate, what you're seeing are those 3 pillars, environment, social, and economic, all working together. This is basically humanity's to-do list for a better future. Look, at the end of the day, it really boils down to something simple. You can't fix a problem that you don't understand. And once we really grasp these core ideas about our environment and our role in it, that's when we're empowered to start making better choices for the planet and for ourselves. So we know where we need to go. The goal is a sustainable future where both people and nature can thrive. But the real question is, are we moving fast enough to get there? And what can each of us do to help pick up the pace?